Hey everybody, welcome to Texas 2.5. Here we are today with the Lone Star Grills Mini, and we're gonna do a brisket point. It is looking beautiful with the Cosmos rubs on it. My go-to for beef almost always is I start with a layer of Cosmos Texas beef, which you saw in the picture on the preview, hopefully. That's the white looking rub. It's kind of like an SPG. Cosmos does have an SPG, but I actually prefer the Texas beef because Cosmos SPG is more like a Montreal steak rub. It's a lot bigger pieces of seasonings and a lot grittier. And for my taste, I prefer the fine ground spices whenever I'm using rubs for smoking. So I always go with the Texas beef. It's got a little tiny bit of sugar in it, which I really love. And then I finish it with the cow cover is what gives it that awesome orange color, and by the end of the smoke it's looking real nice and rich brown on the top of that brisket. So got a beautiful brisket point up here in Alaska. Got a great price on it. I was surprised. For point only it was $5.99 a pound, and they had whole briskets for $4.99 a pound. But these days, at this point in my smoking, I have determined that if point only is close in price, I'm just smoking points from now on, because I'll be honest with you, I so strongly prefer the point over the flats, and I so love brisket burnt ends that I'd rather just buy a bunch of points, to be honest with you. That's where I'm at with smoking wise. So we've got our smoker up to temp here. I actually started a couple hours ago, gave myself tons of time just to let it come up to temp nice and easy, and right now we're just about 260. So I'm going to throw this brisket in. Maybe do it hot and fast. We'll see how it goes. Maybe let it creep up to 300, 325. And maybe this baby will be done by supper time tonight. We'll see. Here goes. I do have a tiny bit of water in the smoker today. I don't normally water smoke, but I was actually cleaning this out earlier. So there's a tiny bit of water residue left in there, but not much. Gonna put that brisket. Man, the sun really makes that fat look weird. Anyhow, going to put the brisket right in the middle there, right next to that thermometer, so I can get as accurate temps as possible, and we'll roll with it. Come back, check it in a couple hours. See you soon. Alright, here we are, a little over 2 hours, about 2:15. I have not opened the door. Got her right about 300 pinned. I love it. This is the first glimpse. Wow. Hey, just so you know, this area here gets hot on your LSG Mini sometimes. Maybe it's time for me to tighten down the adjustment a little bit. But my gasket might be getting a little flat. Anyhow, oh baby, that brisket has puffed up. And again, my the sun today is just at the perfect temperature, if you want to call it that, to yellow everything out. I don't like that, but I can tell you in real life this brisket has no yellow looking junk on it. As per the video, it's just beautiful barky goodness. Maybe if we pull it out here we might get a slightly different angle. Anyhow, she's looking good. I like the way that bark is forming up. Got good formation all along the ridges here. And again, that Cosmos rub just gives a beautiful reddish orange color at the beginning, and by the end it'll be nice and dark and chocolatey brown. That's curling up like a prime rib roast. We had a little bit of a flap underneath there that's probably causing that, but I left it in place because I figured even if the little tiny flap gets ruined, it'll protect everything else, make it taste good. We're doing this on a little bit of a chilly April day here in Alaska. Got a little bit of snow coming down, and early April. We're hoping for spring, but so far it's not getting much above 38 here. So anyhow, close her down for a couple more hours and check back. All right, a little over 3.5 hours in. She's looking great. I peeked at her a couple minutes ago. Decided it's time to wrap. The thickest part we're in the 160s. In the thinnest parts we're in the 190s already. So what I did was I made up a hot broth. If you put cold liquid with your meat, go ahead and add an hour to whatever you're expecting on time to doneness. It will slow you down that much. So I boiled some water, put in some beef stock, a couple different kinds of my favorite barbecue sauce, and just made a thin little braising liquid. Actually, there's some sweet tea in there as well. Sweet tea is my secret in all my braising liquids. Good old southern style sweet tea. So, plop her right down there in that hot liquid, wrap her up, maybe another hour, max hour and a half. Should be done. Looking absolutely awesome. Alright, just pulled her off the smoker. Looking good, hot and steamy. Preserved that bark. Juice is gonna be good. After we eat this for dinner tonight, then I'm gonna slice up the rest and turn it into burnt ends. I left the smoker going and I'll show you all that in a minute. But let's cut into this baby. Alright, I'm just gonna take the top off this brisket. The two muscles. And we're just gonna eat off of that one for supper. I'll keep that other piece in the juice to keep it nice and moist. Just going to take some chunks off, not really trying to do slices since this is the point. Just some nice chunks, and I'll get a sample here so you can see how it ended up. Take one from the middle. Not too huge of a smoke ring. Wish that was a little better. But we'll see how it tastes. I used a tiny bit of cherry and a whole bunch of hickory. So it should have good smoke on it, but not much of a ring. Let's just show you that little piece there. It's looking pretty juicy, and it's definitely tender. The rub is amazing. I love the rubs. Those Cosmos rubs are really good, and it does have good smoke on it. I wish it had a little bit more, but it actually does have good hickory flavor to it, and the chunks here, if we can get the camera to focus on it, really good juiciness. At least I'm seeing juice on this side coming down to my fingers, and it could have gone a little bit longer, but we wanted to eat supper. It's definitely chewable, tender enough to chew, not quite falling apart. I wish it was a little more tender, but when I make burnt ends out of the other piece, those will be on for another hour or so, and those will get super soft for when we have leftovers. So overall, a good smoke. First brisket in Alaska. That point was a good quality piece of meat, and we're gonna go eat supper now. We'll see y'all again soon. One thing I forgot to show you was this bark. Let's see here if we can see it. Did get good bark on it. Really tasty. Not overdone at all this time, like my plastic ribs were a couple weeks ago. But just juicy, perfect amount of bark, not too thick, and Moosey approves. Moosey, I can't let you lick my food glove. Here you go. Here you go, buddy. Enjoy. Alright, I just dumped off a bunch of the juice, added a couple of different kinds of my favorite barbecue sauces across the top, and just kind of brushed it on lightly. And these burnt ends are going right back into the smoker. Wow, we already got her back up to 350. I cranked her open a little bit when I pulled the beef, but I didn't think we'd get there that fast. So I will shut her down so she doesn't get any hotter. And while we're eating supper, I'll leave these out here on the smoker for at least 30 minutes, maybe 45 or even an hour. We'll see how it goes. But there's still plenty of juice down in there to keep them moist. But that barbecue sauce on top will set up real nice. Little extra smoke on them, little extra time will tender them up. And boy, those samples I was eating inside they sure were delicious. But these will be even better. Burnt ends, my favorite part of the whole brisket. Here goes. All right, we got these bad boys inside. They are looking good. Let me see what we can do here with a spoon. I brought them in a while ago and I've let them cool down quite a bit already. Let's just see. Oh yeah. Cut them with a spoon. Let's check it out. Alright, here's the one we cut with the spoon. Smokier, juicier, really moist, super tender. Man, that is good. Let me just, it's interesting because the cube itself is actually rather firm when you grab it out of there. It's not falling apart at all, but just easily. All right, well, that was our first successful, our first attempt really at brisket since the big move up here to Alaska. First time on the LSG up here, so there will be many more to come, but that was a good one, and we'll see you next time on Texas 2.5.